can't count anymore. Hello and welcome to this very first episode of Knitting Sustainably, a podcast by us here at Making Stories. And it's the first episode of 2021. And you might be like, it's mid-February. That's right, it's mid-February. That's because this is our third try, Claire? Yeah. I think maybe third or fourth try recording this. So we had this really grand idea that because if you've been following this podcast for a little while, you know that the tech is sometimes a little bit hit and miss, and we really want to fix this because we really want you as the viewers to have a really good and pleasant viewing experience. And so we've gone through some different iterations of our tech setup already. And we're hoping that this one is actually the one that we can stick with. So if you are new to this, a very, very warm welcome. We are Claire and Hannah-Lisa. We're Making Stories, a sustainable knitting publishing company. And we're really excited to be here. This is a podcast about knitting, so we'll definitely be sharing what we have on our needles, but it's also about all things sustainability in knitting. And this is something new that we decided we want to do this year. So we started podcasting last year and had a lot of fun with it. But we thought, what else can we add that might be of interest to all of you who are watching this, hopefully with a cup of tea and you're knitting. And what we want to do is for every episode that we put out, we're going to talk a little bit about a sustainability related topic that relates to our knitting and our making. A lot of times this will sort of tie in with the blog post that we've been publishing, and we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about whatever we're writing on the blog about. Some people prefer to read, some people prefer to watch videos. And so this is also going to be a huge portion of today that Claire is actually going to walk you through what we have planned for the blog this year. Speaking of Claire, do you want to say hi?
Hello. I'm lurking over here.
Hello. Yeah, okay. The other thing that we want to talk about today is something really exciting. By the time that you see this video, we will have released our long-awaited kids collection. Yay!
Yay! I'm so excited.
I'm so excited as well. I'm also nervous. I'm honestly nervous every time that we put something out. That's just the way it is.
Me too. I'm always nervous, especially where we're doing something a little bit different this time with digital collections and things, and we're going to get into that in a moment. But I'm really excited for this collection, and digital collections have always been a little bit tricky for us, just how to really get them out there and to make them accessible to everyone. And so I'm super excited to be trying this new format with the kids collection to see how it goes.
Yeah. So if you've been following us here at Making Stories for a while, you know that we used to put out quite a few digital collections. We have a full sock collection. We have a couple of really beautiful digital only collections that we've done in the past few years. And what's different about the kids collection is that we're releasing the full collection as an ebook at the same time as all the patterns individually, because we feel that this is hopefully going to make the collection more accessible. And we also hear you when you say like, hey, I don't actually want to knit all of the, in this case, 8 patterns in the collection. I'm just interested in 1 or 2 or maybe 3, and then shelling out the full money for the full collection. It's maybe, it's not really the best thing that you would want to do, right? So this is why for this launch, as of the launch day, all of the patterns will be available individually as well as in a full collection, plus we'll have bundle discounts.
Yay!
We're gonna dive a little bit into detail into those bundle discounts in a second, but if you're here and you're like, what is this kids collection stuff all about? Let me show you. I have a little pile of samples here.
Ooh, I love the samples.
Samples. Um, and we're not going to show all of them in detail today. We're going to go live on YouTube. I'm dropping half the samples. We're going to go live on YouTube next week. Yeah, when are we going to go live exactly?
We said Thursday. It's Thursday at 5 p.m. 12 p.m. Claire's time. She's going to remember this time.
Annalisa's time, which is 5 p.m. GMT +1. So it's 4 p.m. GMT. And from there, you should be able to convert it to whatever time zone you're in. We're also going to include a link in the down bar below. I just said that. I'm not including the link. Claire's going to include it.
I will be setting.
I just dropped that on.
Yes, I'll be setting everything up. So if you're watching this and you'd like to join us next week, head to the little description below and there'll be a link to go to where you can set a reminder if you want to join us, which I hope you do. It'll be really fun. We'll just be hanging out and talking about all the designs and all the wool and
yeah. So I'm quickly going to show just what exactly you can expect in the collection, but we're not going to go into details as in which yarn and things. I want to start with sharing our inspiration for the collection, though. As you might know or might not know, I have a little one. Oren is now 16 and almost 16 and a half months old. How did that happen? I do not know. If you have seen any photos, Oren's also the little one featured in the photos. I'm obviously very biased. I think he's the cutest. They're the cutest model in the world. When I got pregnant, I had this grand vision of Oren being clad in all woolly things. This did not happen. Partly because I just felt like every time that I picked up my needles when I was pregnant. I don't really know why that is. If that happened to anyone else, it just made me nauseous.
I've heard that with other people, that's like a thing that happens sometimes.
I think it was a thing with focus, you know, like focusing, just zooming in on something tiny, like tiny needles. I didn't, thankfully, like I had super early morning sickness and then I got put on some vitamins and they really helped. But knitting just no. And then Oren was born and then there was no brain or time or energy. But at some point, my knitting energy actually came back and I started thinking like, okay, you know, what are the things that I really want to knit? And I wanted to knit stuff that was interesting and fun to knit, but also not super intricate, like not tons of cables that I needed to keep track of, really something that would lend itself well to something that I still do, which is I love watching Oren play with anything. And often they'll just be sitting there and playing with something and I'll pick up my knitting and knit a row or two or three. And that's really the vibe that we wanted our designs for this collection to have, you know, something that is interesting enough and engaging enough so that you don't get bored halfway through your project and abandon it, but also not something that's hugely overly complicated. And I think we managed to do that, didn't we, Claire?
I think so, and I'm exactly the same way. I mean, I don't have children, but if it ever comes to, if I ever stop knitting for myself, because I'm terrible at knitting for other people, but I have nephews and nieces, and I want to make something that looks cute, but also I don't have to overly think about, I guess. And I like nice, quick, cute projects for them. So, and I'm a big fan, whether it's for kids or myself or whoever. I always love projects where I can pop them down, go do something, because I'm very easily distracted. So the amount of times I'm like, ooh, and I have to drop what I'm doing and I go off to do whatever else. I like to be able to just pick my knitting back up and without having to go through 50 charts going, oh no, where was I up to? Which I have a project on the needles like that at the moment that I haven't knit on for quite some time, and I'm like, I have no idea where I'm up to in that thing. So it stays.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah. So we hope that all of the designs really fulfill that desire for something, you know, that you will want to reach for in a little downtime, or maybe just if you need a little breather. I'll just quickly show you what we actually have in the collection. So it's 8 designs in total. They've all been designed by Karen and I. Some of them are accessories, others are garments, some of them are home things. So in terms of accessories, we have mittens. There used to be 3 samples. There's now 2 because one is Oren's absolute favorite pair of mittens, which says something because Oren usually is like, no, Mom, mittens, go, 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 go. They're not talking yet, but if they could talk, that's what they would say. So I'm really happy. So those are the Rebel mittens, and they come in a newborn size without a thumb. You can attach an eye port so that you can thread through the jacket. And then there are 4 more sizes up to a 6-year size, and all of them come with really cute afterthought thumbs. So
they're so cute. I love the stripes.
Me too. They're excellent also for stash busting. We have a beautiful combination in the same yarn, so you can get both of them out of one skein. We'll talk more about that in the YouTube live, of the Treasure cowl designed by Claire, which is the first thing that's going to hop on my needles in this yarn.
Ooh, that's pretty.
I know. More on that also in the next episode, but teaser. So this is Treasure, and this is Warmth, the hat that is also knit in the same yarn. That's a design by me. It's sort of a slouchy hat, more of like a beanie style thing, which I thought was a nice change of pace compared to the usual kids' hats that you get. Alrighty, that was the 3 accessories that we have. I have to pick up the...
I love that hat. I love that. I know we'll talk about it more next time, but it's knit top down, which you don't get a lot of hat patterns that are knit top down.
Yeah. See, that's the other thing that we try to do with all the garments and accessories, make them in a way that you can really make them fit to your little one, or possibly even extend their lifespan. Because if you knit something top down, let's say you knit like this hat top down, and you realize it's gotten a little bit too short, you can just unravel it and add a little bit of length. No problem at all.
That's a great idea. I never even thought about that.
So that was the accessories. And then in terms of garments, we have 3 sweet little sock patterns. They're all follow the same recipe, so they're toe up, but it's 3 different variations. So it's a stockinette only variation that's perfect for playing with color. There's a super cozy ribbing variation with tiny little stripes, and then there's a little lace thingy happening.
Oh, they're so cute. I love the socks when they're all together and you see all the colors, and it's so cute. I love that color palette.
Yeah, me too. And I love it also because, again, those are great for stash busting. If you have some fingering weight yarns lying around, you can just put them in there, or you have a mini skein set. Yeah. Then we have a beautiful color work sweater that Claire designed, Embrace. Again, knit top down with this super sweet color work here at the yoke, and then also at the bottom, and folded cuffs, or you can unfold them, which are great because, limbs grow fast.
Limbs grow really fast. My nephews are like, that's what always seems to get longer on them before anything else. It's really strange.
Are you telling me the other day that one of your nephews is now taller than their mom?
Taller than my mum. So my mum,
taller than your
grandma. My mum's, an average height for, I'd say, an English person, which sounds really weird, but everyone in Canada is huge. Like, they're so tall. There's a brilliant photo from my wedding where me and my sister are with my now husband and her husband, who's also Canadian, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, both Canadian, and it literally looks like me and Helena stood in holes. It's ridiculous.
Well,
but yeah, sorry, random tangent.
Limbs grow fast.
Yes, and my nephew's now huge, so.
Yeah. And the other garment that we have here is not in pristine sample condition anymore. because this is actually the #1 favorite garment of our little one. So this is the Joy cardigan. It's a little cardigan with sweet little cable detail running down the arms, not the arms, the sleeves. We didn't tattoo our little one or anything, don't worry. So yeah, and I love designing this. There are some really fun things. Stay tuned for the YouTube live for the details on that. And it's really the best layering piece, I find. Yeah, not that the colorwork sweater wouldn't be great. It's just that it's not my sample. It's Claire's, so I didn't, I didn't dare to put Orin in it.
You can put Orin in it. I don't think Tilly will fit in it, so.
But we could make a Tilly version of it.
Oh, I've already been thinking of that. Don't you worry. I am that person. I will put my dog in a knitted sweater because she'll look cute.
So cute sweaters and sweater patterns out there. I love it. So that's 6 out of the 8 patterns. The other 2 are fabulous designs by Claire. One is this amazing cuddly blanket, appropriately named Cuddle. That's super fun because you actually don't knit it in a rectangle. That's all that I'm going to say. For everything else, you have to watch the YouTube live.
I had fun designing that one. That was
so nice. And it's like, I want to have this.
The bigger it got, the more I could like put it over my lap as I was doing it. It's so
perfect.
nice.
Also has the perfect weight. Like it's not heavy, but it has weight to it, which I think is a good. It's drapey as well. Yeah. And then last but not least, again, imagine that this little basket is actually attached to this. Our little one loves to play with take flight. And during that play, sometimes it's a bit rough, like that basket got detached. Great prep work, Annalisa, for this awesome video. Next week in the YouTube live, see it with the basket attached.
See it attached.
So, I love this so much. So this is a hot air balloon that you can hang in the nursery, over your little one's bed or anywhere you like. And it's, I love it. I'm still like that. You can design something like this and then knit it. And then there's actually a hot air balloon at the end of your project. I'm like, mind blown. Knitting blows my mind. You did blow my mind with this one, Claire.
Well, we got there in the end. There is an earlier version down in the basement.
Use that to Easter as the Easter egg.
That's the one I like to throw at Chris when he's just walking past. Not in a horrible way because it just like bounces off him. But yeah, it took a little bit of tweaking to get the shaping right, but we got there in the end. And
we got there in the end and it looks so good. Like I love it. And I love the color work. And I love, like, we have a fun few things in the patterns and in the collection. Like for the last 2 that I showed you, for the balloon and for the blanket, you'll actually get color in charts with the pattern so that you can play around with which colors you like where. And I think that's just really nice because, I mean, obviously we chose a specific color palette for this, but especially with those things, you might maybe want to keep them in the color scheme that you picked for your nursery. Or if you're like us, you don't have a color scheme for your nursery, you just pick your favorite colors.
And I think as well, I love the idea of a colouring in charts just because it's going back to that idea that we originally had where we just want to make simple knits that look lovely. And for me, if I have a chart in front of me that I've coloured in my own colours that I'm actually using, I'm not going to get confused because if you've got some colour changes, though saying that all the colour work in this collection is very simple and very intuitive. But I just love the idea of printing it out, colouring it in, and then you can sit there. You don't have to have your laptop open. If you're doing the colour work section, you can just have your little colouring chart next to you and you can knit away and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so that's the 8 designs. Again, if you want to see all of the details, if you want to hear us talk about the yarns that we used and stuff, the YouTube video that's going to go live next week. That's going to be where to look for that information. Also, once we've launched, all of that will obviously be available on the website, all of that information. Let's talk a little bit about this bundle thing that we mentioned earlier. So as Claire mentioned, this is a digital only collection. So this is not going into print. And there are 3 different ways that you can purchase the patterns. One is the full collection. All of the 8 patterns in one PDF, all the coloring charts, comes with a little sizing guide as well. And that's, like all of the ties a little nice bow around all of the patterns. That's option 1. Option 2 is you can buy all of the patterns individually as PDF downloads. The pricing is pretty straightforward. The 2 garments are priced at €8. They're sized up to from newborn up to age 6. One of them has 8 sizes. The other one has 10 sizes. That's just because of the way that the pattern flows. And all of the other accessories and home things are priced at €6. Again, for the accessories, we have sizes from newborn up to 6 years. And we did that because you asked for it. That sounded like you asked for it. No, like we asked, would you prefer just a baby collection with like maybe up to 1-year-old or a 2-year-old size? And there were a lot of you who were like, there's actually a lot of beautiful baby patterns out there, but there's not that much for, preschoolers, kindergarten children. And so we extended the size range up to 6 years, which we hope a lot of you will like. So anyways, you can, of course, purchase all of these patterns individually. If you're like, okay, I just want to have the blanket, go ahead. You can just get the blanket. What if you're like, I don't want to have the full collection, but I want to have 3 patterns? We have 2 bundle discounts for you. So if you buy 3 patterns, you get a discount of 15%. If you buy 5 patterns, you get a discount of 30%. And then tying it back into the full collection, if you buy the full collection, the entire collection, that comes at a whopping 50% off compared to buying all of the patterns individually. So we hope that with this, you can buy every pattern individually. 3 come with a 15% discount, 5 come with a 30% discount. The full collection comes with a 50% discount. We can make as many of you happy, no matter whether you only like one pattern or whether you love all of the patterns. Yeah. Ooh, I should probably tell you where you can actually buy it. So you can buy them on our website as digital downloads. You can also buy them on Ravelry. If you're using Ravelry, we will also be making them available on Lovecrafts. Little tidbit of inside information: the Ravelry import into Lovecrafts doesn't work at the moment, which is why we have to set all of the patterns up individually. So that might take us a little while longer. But until then, they're available in our web shop and on Ravelry. So depending on where you prefer to shop, you can go there and get the kids collection.
Yay! I'm so excited. I'm really looking forward to seeing what people think about the bundles and stuff, because I think it's a great way to do it. I'll be honest, if I see digital collections, I rarely buy the whole thing, just for the same reason, just because there's only a couple of patterns sometimes I'm interested in. So it's just nice to be able to be a bit more flexible for people and see what people are enjoying.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm really excited about this because it just feels right and like true to what we're trying to do with this company. And I think it's going to be a really nice way also for people who are maybe not yet familiar with what we're doing to explore what we're about and how, like, which kind of patterns we like to publish. All of that. You've also planned a lovely little thing for celebrating the launch. A little separate email.
I do. So I put together, first of all, there's an opt-in email for the kids collection. If you joined us for our winter celebration, then you'll kind of know what that's about. Um, Basically, I'm sending an email to people on that sign up list every day with details of every single pattern and having like a really good chat about the yarn that we're using, just so you can get to know our yarn partners a little bit better. And along with that, there's going to be a surprise every day. So, similar to our winter celebration, where there was like a little gift or a little surprise in there, you're getting the same thing in this. Um, so, I'm really excited about it. It is already happening. The first one went out on launch day, which was Wednesday, but you can still opt in for the rest of the emails if you wish. So the link is below for that too. It's just a little fun thing that's going to pop up in your inbox every day and hopefully just give you lots more details about the patterns and the yarn and a little fun treat at the end of it too. So yeah, so I'd love it if you joined in, if you fancied getting that in your inbox every day. So just follow the link below if you wish to do that. And there's actually a blog post up on our stories online right now, all about the yarn that we used in the kids collection too. So if you're particularly interested in the yarn and having a bit of a deep dive into the qualities and all those kind of things, then please do check it out. The link is below for that too.
Yay! Awesome. That's so nice. We didn't do that before, the sort of in-depth yarn
Oh,
blog post, and it's something that I'm really, really excited about. Because I love the yarn partners. I mean, if you've been following our work, you know that we're very conscious about choosing sustainably produced yarns. We also understand, though, that sometimes you might want to use something that you have in your stash and you're not really sure what might work. So we're also hoping that those in-depth yarn posts give you an idea of which kind of yarn works well with a certain pattern, so that you can see, for example, if you want to do like a little mini skein thingy that you have, like, okay, would that be a good fit for the socks? You can see whether that's the case.
yeah, I'm excited for that because that's really leading on to a lot of what we're doing on the blog this year. Because we do have a blog post coming up in the next month or so that's all about substituting yarn. So we really want to do a series of blog posts, like a deep dive into the kids collection yarn, that you can then refer back to when you're looking at that blog post on yarn substitution, because we know it's an area where people tend to get a little bit overwhelmed sometimes, especially if you're a new knitter and you can't get hold of the suggested yarn or you don't want to use a suggested yarn. It's nice just to be able to refer to something, say, "Ooh, okay, so I'm looking for a yarn with these type of qualities
Yeah.
and this kind of fiber content," and just things like that. And then also on the flip side, then having that knowledge that if you don't use a yarn like that, that's also absolutely fine. It's just you may not get the exact same outcome as the sample has, which is fine because I always quite enjoy seeing designs knit up in completely different yarns just to see the different effects that people can get.
Yeah.
Um, but just in case you are like, "Ooh, I love the sample, I want it to be exactly like that," it just takes a little bit of the guesswork out of things if you can go into having that understanding of what you need from a yarn if it's not the recommended yarn. So yeah, that's a big part of the partner yarn roundup that we're going to be doing for each collection that we launched this year. So hope you enjoy that.
And I love it how it ties into the general vision that we have for the blog for this year. So last year, we did a lot of work on understanding what sustainably made yarn actually is. We did a long series that you really, really liked about non-superwash yarns. This year, we're focusing more on the knitting itself. So the most sustainable piece of clothing that you have is one that you already own, and that you're wearing for a long, long time, right? And so we kind of want to help figuring out what the right pattern is, if you found a pattern that you love but you want to adjust it, say for like a different body length or different measurements, how you do that. Then, as Claire said, we're going to dive into different aspects of yarn and how they then influence the fabric that you're getting with your knitting, and what that means for a yarn, whether that's a good fit for a pattern or not. And then Claire has planned a really, really cool series about caring for your knits. So there's going to be a lot of things about mending, which I'm really excited about. And then there's also going to be more information about how to store your knits, how to wash your knits. So that's kind of the everything that we want to have on the blog for you this year, because really, I think caring for what we have, making really sure that what we're knitting is what we're going to be wearing for a long, long time, is the most sustainable thing that we can do as knitters. It's not just about picking yarns that are, super local, super sustainably produced. And I think as much as I love those yarns, the reality is that they're also often, and rightly so, really expensive. And there's a whole other facet to sustainability in knitting that doesn't really have anything to do with the yarn itself, but with working what you have. So we want to honor that also this year on the blog.
Agreed. I'm really, really excited for what's coming on the blog. I did a full blog breakdown and where we had a big plan that's going to go over right the way through to August, I think. So I'm really excited to tackle some things. We already have a few posts up on the blog already over the past couple of weeks. One was more of an introduction post to what we're going to be doing, which is kind of what we just spoke about here. But last week, I'm getting my weeks mixed up. This week we did the yarn roundup. Last week I posted a blog post that was all about ease.
You have to go read it. It's so good. It's so good.
Thank you, love. I was really happy with it as well. And it's one of those things that even the most experienced knitters, ease can be very tricky. I know I run into trouble with it now and again as well, and it's a huge part of getting your knits to fit properly. So it's nice to have something up there that people can refer back to. And if you're a new knitter or even a more experienced knitter who's still like, I'm still struggling really getting to grips with ease a little bit, then please do give it a read, because you might find it a little bit helpful. And it's also a good example of the kind of posts we're going to be writing this year, and getting really delved into getting your fit perfect for your sweaters and your cardigans, so you're going to wear them forever and you're going to love them.
Yeah. And I also really loved the post that you did before that in the week, which was all about planning out your knits. And you shared a little bit about the Pinterest board, which inspired me to do a Pinterest board for my own.
Oh, nice.
And stuff. I haven't done it yet, but I've kind of sort of thought about, how, because my wardrobe feels a little bit, I don't know, like all over the place right now. And I was really inspired by that blog post. So I love that.
Oh, good. Yeah, I love planning my knits. I get really geeky over it because I just love sitting down and going through a pattern, and I'm like, ooh, what yarn will work with that? And it's almost like I don't necessarily am able to do that every time, but it's nice to start getting ideas of the kind of things you want to make. And at one place I always not struggle with, but I get into a bit of a rut color wise. I play it very safe normally when it comes to color, because I'm a little bit of not a control freak, but I get a little bit overwhelmed by too many colors. Speckled yarns frighten me. I know it's ridiculous. I always think variegated yarns and speckled yarns look beautiful in a skein, but the thought of actually knitting them into something, because I don't know where the colours are going to come out, stresses me out a little bit. And I do tend to kind of fall into that. I like a lot of neutrals. I love yellow, and I migrate towards those definite colours. So it's kind of nice I use my Pinterest board as well to put different colour palettes up on there. So that way when I go in, if I am selecting yarn for a new project, I can be like, let's just go in, see the kind of colours that I've been using up until now, and then if there's anything that would kind of complement that. So my knits kind of don't all look exactly the same, that I can kind of layer things.
I'm so excited for everything that we have for you on the blog. It's going to be really
Me
nice.
too. I'm excited about it.
Speaking of planning knitting, shall we talk about what we have on our needles?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. I'll go first. Socks on my needles. I also have a couple of knitting plans, but I'll save those for another time. But I needed a little palette cleanser I felt after finishing my petiole. And so I picked up a skein of Woolly Mammoth Fiber Co.'s Natural Sock DK and started another pair of winter celebration socks. So if you've been part of the winter celebration, or if you're a newsletter subscriber, you will have gotten this sweet little sock pattern of ours as a gift to your inbox last year. If not, don't worry, just subscribe to our newsletter, you'll get it. It's a toe-up sock pattern in a DK weight, which makes them up super fast. So this is the first sock, and I've started the leg already, and it was maybe like 3 hours of knitting or something. Yeah.
You're such a fast knitter, though. That would take me a little while longer, but I need to cast those on.
I don't think so. And yeah, I'm really enjoying them. I also already found an error in the pattern.
It happens.
Update. It happens. But yeah, I'm really excited to have these, and they're just a really nice like potato chippy knit, just one more row. So that's one thing that's on my needles. And the other thing is actually a half finished object, another sock. Da, 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 da.
Oh, right. I forgot you were knitting those. They're so pretty.
Yeah, I haven't shown them on the podcast for a little while, or a longer while. I think the last time that I showed them, they were maybe up until here or so. And this was really just the past maybe 2 weeks or so I've worked on these. So this is the Pebbles and Pathways sock pattern by Mars, who you may know as Hey Brownberry, and it's a toe-up sock with a super cute cables running down the side, and then there's garter stitch in the middle, and you actually do the same thing on the back of the leg as well.
Those.
And it has a really, like, the heel is knit in a way that I've never done it before. So I think technically it classifies as a gusset and heel, but it's different than how I would usually do my heel flaps. And I really enjoyed it. I really, really loved it.
It looks nice. Does it give a nice fit?
It does. It does give a super, super nice fit. So yeah. I really enjoyed those. I think I cast them off yesterday, and I knit the cuff yesterday. So I can't wait to do the second sock. They're super soft.
I need to get back into I need to get back into sock knitting. I really fell out of love with it. I tried to cast a pair on over Christmas and got bored and stopped and went back to sweater knitting. So I think I might give the winter celebration socks a try, because I think a DK sock would get me back into my knitting mojo.
Yeah. I can only recommend them also for a first time sock knitter, because I think it can be a little bit daunting having all of those tiny stitches on the needle, and I think with a DK weight, it goes so fast. There's no danger of second sock syndrome. Yeah. And I think like a DK is one of those yarn weights. When I visit a yarn shop, well, when travel was still a thing, and I would visit a yarn shop, I would always pick up a skein or two, and then you're left with like a skein of DK weight yarn. What are you going to do with it? So I think a pair of socks is actually a great way to use it up. How about you? You finished something, didn't you?
I finished something, and I was going to wear it for the podcast today, but we have the wood stove going and it's so warm.
It would have been sauna.
I'll never make it through. I finished my Fern and Feather. and I love it. It's had several outings.
It's so pretty.
Tilly,
Tilly's like, "Rrr."
little monster.
The sweater.
I've had it out. It's probably because I keep wearing it to go out for a walk, and she's like, "Are we going
Yeah.
somewhere?" I absolutely love it. So I knit it as written in the pattern with the roll neck and the waist shaping because I knew I wanted it to go walking with Tilly, and I didn't want a lot of excess bulk in case I
Yeah.
have to wear my jacket over. I'm definitely gonna make it again because I really like it. But I think next time I kind of like to try it with the contrasting color in like a floofier yarn, for like a little bit of like floof going on, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna omit the waist shaping and have it more
Yeah.
oversized. Because I think that would be a really cozy, like around the house, but also going out sweater.
Totally.
Tilly,
I think she's definitely like, okay, mom, let's go. Let's go.
she's like, that's my walking sweater. So the other thing that I put on my needles recently is a vanilla sweater. This
The
is
sweater is queen. Like, when did that happen? It's like almost
this is
done.
this is the thing. I'm just like, because I've been going into like a full-on stockinette sweater like vortex at the moment. But this won't end up being completely stockinette. I'm not sure exactly what's gonna happen with it yet, but it's either gonna turn into the tulip sweater pattern from Melody Hoffman, or I'm gonna keep it all stockinette and then play around with some duplicate stitch, which I think I'm kind of leaning towards at the moment, but I'm not sure. It's been kind of nice to just. Do you think that's what I should do?
I think so, yes. I don't know what it is about it, but I think there could be something like, especially, I don't know what you're leaning towards, but I can see like a nice cream or something, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking. I'm sorry for my dog. She's being a swine.
Okay.
I was thinking a nice cream with like a brighter yellow in there,
Ooh, oh, that would be so nice.
and it's something I've never done before. So I was thinking on the elbows just to reinforce, just doing like a little patch of something could be really fun.
Mm,
Um, so we'll see what happens. I think it'd be really nice because then I think maybe it'll be a bit more wearable for me than possibly doing the tulip version, but we'll see. And it'll be something different. So
yeah,
watch this
yeah.
space. Next time we do the podcast, which will be in 2 weeks, maybe I'll have it done for them. We'll see.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll see.
We'll see. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's everything that's on my needles at the moment.
Wonderful. I think we've also we always start this podcast and we're like, okay, we're gonna keep it really short. We inevitably hit the 45-minute mark. I think we've hit it again with this one.
Yeah.
But I hope you really enjoy us talking about the kids collection and sharing our plans for the blog and our knitting. Do share anything that you would like us to talk about in the comments down below. So we'll go back to our normal 2-week schedule. So every other week on Wednesday, we're going to be publishing a new episode here on YouTube. And I'm really excited for the podcast this year. It's been something that's brought, I think, both of us a lot of joy last year. And I think we're both really looking forward to bringing you more content on video.
Yes, and hopefully you enjoyed this episode because the quality has improved. We've been doing quite a lot, fingers crossed, because we said this last time we recorded, and then it was we had to shelve it, unfortunately. But fingers crossed this time you're actually watching this, and the audio and the video is improved to how it has been before. So do let us know what you think, and yeah, we're gonna keep working on making it as polished as possible.
Yeah. Alrighty. Give us a thumbs up if you like this. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. Links to everything that we talked about can be found in the down bar below. And then we'll either see you next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. GMT +1 for our YouTube live on the kids collection, or we'll see you again here in 2 weeks.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.